Hello, I'm William Rowe. This presentation for IDS 403 is on technology teaching, using language programs, not teachers, to teach reading and writing. Prior to the Industrial Revolution, children in agrarian societies were only required to learn what was necessary for their families, when to harvest, plant, etc. With the Industrial Revolution, children began to be occupationally mobile, and the training with a child received began to be a community interest by his or her future employers. This social practice created a pathway to the technology we now know as public education. Horace Mann, considered the father of public school, adapted an industrial factory model classrooms with the distinct schedules as the most efficient way to scale education. The technological result are bell schedules, which now, in turn, shape societal practices. Even if the students are on the cusp of an educational breakthrough, as soon as the bell rings, off they go to another subject. This is an example of social construction of technology, as a social group of employers drove the implementation of the technology of public education. Horace Mann was elected to the Massachusetts Board of Education in 1837. He believed that literacy and common public ideals would lead to a good citizenship and promote democratic participation, as well as create a good society. Mann took the factory model classroom from Prussia, where there it was meant to be able to educate all children for economic and moral imperatives. Mann thought the system would create an egalitarian society, and in the time Mann lived, the factory model was the most efficient way to scale education. Mann wanted to use technology of public education as a force for social change. Non-human educational technology controls students and teachers in many ways. Because of Mann's factory model, students and teachers are held to a strict schedule. Additionally, teachers are required to test and grade. The state requires specific achievements to receive a diploma, even by students that don't speak English. By making sure students are attending specific classes, the organization maximizes that rate. It also makes the educational minutes and days calculable so the state knows that the students are receiving appropriate education. The ideal behavior occurs when students have successfully submitted to the controls mechanism. The mechanism makes student behavior predictable. For teachers, the bell schedule, a non-human technology, not only controls when they eat, but when they can use the restroom. The issue of control was particularly intriguing. George Ritzer, distinguished university professor at the University of Maryland, examined non-human technological controls over humans from several different interdisciplinary lenses. In the expert from his book, The McDonaldization of Society, Ritzer considers control of people in education, medicine, industry, childcare, and healthcare. He touched on how policies and procedures are also technologies that control both employees and customers. Ultimately, technology will remove human interaction altogether, achieving ultimate control. As with anything, there are positive and negatives to control through non-human technology. One of the advantages is predictability. For example, on factory chicken farms, all the birds end up approximately the same weight. Because of the predictability, profits are easily calculable. Other advantages are increased profitability by workforce reduction and ensuring that the end product is consistent, like in a bread factory. Negative aspects include the de-skilling of workers where employees simply press buttons, and rigidity through following specific procedures. The California high school graduation requirements do not make allowances for foreign-born, non-English speaking students, but are all, except foreign language, generally taught in English. These include 3 years of English and social studies, 2 years of math, science, and PE, 1 course of visual and performing arts, and 1 year of a foreign language. Non-native speakers must not only learn social English, but also academic English at the same time as they obtain the content knowledge of these courses. One of the societal issues that this raises is that the dropout rate of Hispanic English language learners is almost 60%. Language learners at the high school level are required not only to learn a language, but to also earn enough credits to graduate. The issue is coming to light because language learners represented more than 10% of enrolled students in the 2004-05 school year. Since 1994-95, there has been a 56% increase in this population. The high dropout rate is a concern. Dropouts are more likely to engage in crime than graduates. Because crime creates large social costs, even a small reduction in crime associated with schooling may be economically significant. The target population of this issue is English language learners. As stated just a few years ago, English learners made up more than 10% of enrolled students, and their enrollment increased 56% over the prior decade. Hispanic students make up 77% of the EL population. Language learners are very good at social language, but they struggle with higher level academic language concepts such as analyzation or comparing and contrasting. In the Morgan Hill Unified School District, during the 2015-16 school year, all students received individual Chromebooks. Language learners can access learning supports outside of the classroom, and we are using technology to support language acquisition. The California high school graduation requirements are a form of non-human control. George Ritzer says that technology also includes rules, regulations, and procedures. They require that teachers not only teach a specific set of standards, but that students take a specific set of classes. The requirements are very rigid and do not allow for students that don't speak the language in which the courses are taught. This is a control challenge. Educators need to figure out a way to provide support for language learners within a limited school day under the control of graduation requirements. Aside from the high dropout rate among language learners, there are additional impacts. They are required to take support classes in language acquisition aside from their graduation requirements. This limits their access to other elective enrichment courses. Additionally, language learners are less likely to participate in post-secondary educational opportunities. Morgan Hill Unified School District is set up to educate Spanish speakers, but is in no way prepared for other languages. We can offer supports through teachers who speak Spanish, but the student and staff population is not overly diverse. The main challenge is the future will be accommodating students that speak a language other than English or Spanish, because the American Community Survey conducted in 2009 found that 71% of Santa Clara County's population growth came from ethnic Chinese and Asian Indians. This issue is positively affecting the target population. The Chromebooks provided allow for heterogeneous learning labs. Students are engaged with the interactive software that includes speaking, reading, and writing in English, and they proceed at their own pace. Prior to providing Chromebooks, students were disengaged because they were in classrooms with homogeneous language levels. Staff will need to be trained if there is an influx of non-Spanish speaking students. However, the software has supports and parent materials for 5 major world languages: Spanish, Vietnamese, Filipino, Cantonese, and Mandarin. However, it only has Spanish translations that help students build background knowledge. Morgan Hill Unified School District is utilizing the latest technology via Chromebooks and language acquisition software to support English language learners. Through additional training, the teaching staff could provide additional opportunities for language learners to collaborate, such as the Google Suite of software. Students could work in groups, make presentations, and build websites to support their learning of English. The district needs to implement training and additional supports for non-Spanish speaking English learners, such as students from Asia. Research into other language supports and possibly focusing on hiring teachers in the same demographic as incoming students is necessary. Additionally, we would need to provide access to course materials. One of the challenges is internet access at the student's home. The district could provide after-school access or partner with a local corporation to provide home Wi-Fi. The benefits of the plan not only accrue to Spanish-speaking English learners, but also can prepare the district for a possible influx of non-Spanish English learners. There would be increased student success, increased graduation rates, and the achievement gap between white and Hispanic students would close. There are 7 social benefits from having students graduate: increased national income, increased tax revenue for government services, decreased demand for social services, decreased crime, increased political participation, increased intergenerational mobility, and better levels of health.